Special thank you to our sponsor of Russ Reels Live, the Boulder Falls Inn of Lebanon, Oregon. For more information on the Boulder Falls Inn and their amazing conference facilities in Lebanon, call 541-451-1000. Ta-da! Hello, everybody. Welcome to Russ Reels Live this Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Don't know what time it is where you are, but whatever time of day it is, welcome. So glad to have you here. We've got an amazing panel today. We're going to be talking authentic engagement. Now, you know that I am all about connection and community building, and then it's all about authenticity and really engaging in life. And we're going to talk about that today. Super excited about the topic and I'm not going to have to talk much with this panel. I can tell you, they're going to get things rolling. So that's probably a good thing. So I'm so glad to have you here. Remember, we're here every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for Russ Reels Live for your viewing and listening pleasure. This also, once we are done live, sits on the platforms Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube forever, and you can go back and watch it whenever you would like to do that. And also it converts to audio podcast as well, so you can even listen to it as you're driving in your car. So I just appreciate you all being here today, and I want to tell you that it's so great to have you here, but there's people that are missing out. So please hit that share button right now. Share it out to people. Let people know that you're on and that they're going to miss our amazing guests if they don't get on right now. Because we have Aaron here today. We have Chris here today. We have D. Scott here today. Rosalinde is here today. And Nancy and Ina. We're going to have an amazing discussion, and I want you to be part of that. So please share that out. Also, if you could be so kind as to share on go to YouTube as well. And you can go to YouTube easily by going to russreels.live, and you can, that'll take you directly to my YouTube. And if I was quick, I would actually bring that up on the screen while I'm telling you. There we go. russreels.live. I'm looking for that. Where is it? That'll take you directly to my YouTube page. And what you get with that by subscribing, not only do you get amazing notices about the upcoming content, but you also get all the amazing guests I've had in the past on Russ Reels Live and Marketing with Russ. And so would love to have you subscribe there today, and I'd appreciate that. So go to YouTube by going to russreels.live. And I need to tell all you, we got a big announcement coming up, because one of my other live streams, Marketing with Russ, this coming Monday on the 10th, 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It is my 300th episode of Marketing with Russ. So if you are available, and I hope you are, Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, please tune in to my 300th episode of Marketing with Russ. And I'd love to have you there. There will be an open link. You can even come on camera and say hi if you want. That would be so great. So want to make sure you are all there for that. And with that, I need a drink of water. Hang on just a second here. All right, there we go. I've been talking too much already, so we got to get the guests coming in. So I'm going to break my rule, everybody. I'm actually going to do this. I always go ladies first, but today, my good friend Chris Hennessy has got to leave early. So Chris is coming in the house. There he is. Hey, Chris.
What's up? How you doing, man? It is going. I'm happy to be here.
It is going, man. When you hear here, it's going. And I'm so happy. I just wish I had a beard like you. Mine is so short and little, and yours is just long.
You know how to do that. You have to stop trimming it.
That would probably be it. Yeah. And my wife would probably quit kissing me. So that's probably not going to work for me. But I'm all about my wife kissing me. So my beautiful wife, who's amazing, right. When it gets too long, she looks at me and she goes, yeah, I think it's time to shave. So I do. There you go.
Yeah. If I had a wife that didn't like the beard, then I would definitely be right there with you.
That is the recipe to a happy marriage for over 35 years. And shave when your wife says. So anyway, well, Chris, listen, man, I love you, man. You're awesome. Tell everybody more about you.
So, like you said, my name's Chris. I am a remote live stream producer and trainer. So I can help you get started live streaming with one-on-one coaching or boot camps or whatever, I can also do your show production for you, top to bottom, where all you have to do is show up with your guest. I'm the prison ministry pastor for our church. I did some time in prison, so it's a thing that's very near and dear to my heart. Even though I'm not going into any prisons right now, it's still something that's near and dear to my heart. So yeah, that's me in like 30 seconds.
That was good. That was really good. Well, listen, we're going to get more of you, but first we got to get our next guest in the house. And you know, Rosalinde is kind of like a regular on Russ Reels Live. So in comes Rosalinde. There she is. We're going back to ladies. Come on down. And she is muted because she's been in 5 different time zones.
There we go. Hi. So good to be here again.
Yes, I always love having you, Roz. Thanks so much for being here. For those who are not regulars of Russ Reels Live, tell everybody who you are and what you're up to.
I'm an executive coach, and I help people with leadership, career, and transition. So,
wow,
yeah, that's a whole big plate of, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, or I feel stuck, or I feel that I don't have that kind of purpose, and you know, the list goes on.
And you're a world traveler too.
Yes. Yeah, I've been through, I think now maybe 27 countries, something like that. And
wow.
I just, got back from Austria, and I went almost straight to California. So, and then I just came back. So, yeah.
Wow. You are busy. Well, I'm going on my first missions trip this summer, going to Vietnam with my daughter, who's a worship pastor. Trip. Yeah, and my daughter is actually leading the trip, so I am following her. She's the boss. I'm just going along to work, and it'll be my first missions trip, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's going to be a great trip, because I hear that Vietnam is just a place to visit and stay a while. I don't know how long you're going to be staying, but you really should be staying at least 2 weeks.
I think we're going to be there a week, and she was there last year, so she'll be able to guide me through and help me out. So yeah, anyway, well, listen, we'll keep on moving on here. And you know, Nancy Debra has been busy and been on some vacation, but now she's here even in the middle of Passover to see us today. Hello, Nancy.
Hello to everyone. So glad to be here. You know, I couldn't miss a conversation on authentic engagement. That's what I'm about. So for people who don't know me, my name is Nancy Debra Barrows, and I am a live streaming, I co-host 2 global award-winning live shows with Brian Schulman. I am a coach, and I founded the Chick with the Tool Belt. And the thing that actually right now is top of mind for me is that tomorrow, the first book that I'm a part of launches. So I'm super excited about that. It's a collaborative, 4-book collaborative series.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a huge milestone and dream achieved. But really, I am human. I'm about making people feel seen, heard, loved, and valued, and just, you know, making sure that everybody knows it's okay to be out there living life and being human without having to apologize for it.
There you go. Well, you are definitely an amazing human. So thank you for being here. And Nancy, I tell you, back from the very beginning, when you and I were live streaming together, I would call her at the last moment and she'd say, listen, if you don't mind me in my pajamas and with my coffee, I'm here. So she's been amazing. So a new friend, Ina, is coming on next, and she is an amazing lady. Here she is. Yeah. Hello, Ina.
Hello, Ross, and I'm going to correct you right now. It's Ina.
Okay, and I knew I was doing that, and I said it to Scott ahead of time so he would correct me, but he didn't. So I'll give Scott. It's been a while, Ina, since we chatted, and we've only had the pleasure of talking once before. So I will own it. I said your name wrong. I always normally check that out ahead of time. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You're not the only one. Even when I was working in corporate and people would see my name written for the first time, it was so hard to get them to stop saying Ina in their head. I can't be there when people appropriate the pronunciation of the name in their head. So you are forgiven. Everybody's forgiven. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, Ina, you are amazing. When we talked, I was so fired up after our conversation because I think I have a lot of energy until I spoke with you. And, and also we are true friends already, because a true friend just puts it up front. I've always told people, and Chris, you can relate to this. If I stand up in front of a group of people and my zipper's down, tell me right now. Just get it out of the way. So if I mispronounce your name, just tell me right now. Let's just get it done and let's move on. And there we go. Friends
I knew
again.
you could take it, Russ. I
There
knew
you go.
could take
Oh,
it. You're
yes.
a pro.
I
knew you
can
could
take
take
it. So Ina, tell us all about you. Who is Ina and what are you up to?
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, my name is Ina Coveney. I'm the host of the Global Phenomenon podcast, which is about the online coaching industry. And I talk to all the top coaches in the world about their true startup story. You know how you listen to podcasts with other coaches and it pretty much feels like the host is just trying to get like coaching for free. It's like just like picking their brain. I'm like, I don't want to be that. Like, I really want to get to know where these people came from, like the beginning. Like, tell me, where were you born and what's your relationship with your mother like? Like that's the kind of question that we like to ask. So we've had amazing people on the podcast who's come and tell us like that we've blown them away. They've never had an interview like this before. That's what we go for. So if you're interested in finding out like the truth about online coaches, this is a podcast to do it. And what's most front of mind for me right now is that I am back on Facebook. I've been off of Facebook for so long. And now I created a new Facebook group specifically like for online coaches to help each other out. I want people like online coaches to come to this Facebook group and get collaborations, get clients, ask each other questions, basically the things that they go and pay top dollar for masterminds to go and ask their questions. Come and do it over here, completely free community. I'm so excited about it. So that's like what's front of mind. Thanks everybody for the welcome.
You bet. Well, listen, I'm telling you, I you need a little bit more energy, but other than that, you're doing great. So we're going to move on to, now that we have all the ladies in the room, I'm going to save Scott. We'll save you for last, Scott. Aaron Gibson is an amazing new friend. Well, actually, it seems like we've been friends a long time now. He is such a supportive individual and so authentic. And I'm so glad to have Aaron on the show. Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, my friend?
I am so good. So good. So give everybody a little spotlight. Who is Aaron? What are you up to?
My name's Aaron Gibson. I am a remote producer for a global award-winning show hosted by Debra Barrows and Brian Schulman. I am a content creator here on LinkedIn with Just Off the Cuff HVAC. And I've been doing HVAC for about working on my 24th year. And I'm pleased to announce that as of next Wednesday, with my glorious, illuminating co-host, Dr. Nupi Aurora, I will be starting my first live stream Wednesday at 5 p.m. MST, 7 p.m. EST. Hope to see you all there. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate and love you all. Big burly hugs.
Yeah, well, it's so amazing to have you here. And you've been working your day job all day long, trying to actually get people HVAC systems installed for people. So I appreciate you and all that you do after that. And so last but not least, bringing in my co-host, my good friend, the one who helped me start my business, Mr. D. Scott Smith is in the house.
Oh boy, I tell you. It's when you have a last name that is later in the alphabet, you're used to coming in later. And then every time they take pictures, I got to stand in the back row. And I said, you know what? I'm done with that. Call people up front.
Ooh, good for you, Scott. Nobody put Scott in the corner.
Yeah. Russ, you're not a rule follower, are you? No.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm married to a beautiful rule follower. And I am definitely not. And I get in trouble for that quite a bit because it says don't walk across the lawn and I walk across the lawn. It says don't walk in this door and I walk in that door. That's just who I am.
You do follow the beard shaving rule, though.
Hashtag rule breaker.
Well, I had a friend that said, Scott, you want to push the envelope, but not shred it.
Well, that's a good thought. So, Scott, tell everybody a little bit about you besides what we just talked about before we jump into the topic. Go ahead.
Yeah. So people here know me as the co-host on The Experience live with Russ and Scott every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific time. And we've been doing that for over 100 episodes. We hope to get to that 300 episode like you're coming up with on Russ Real or Marketing with Russ on Monday. Written some books. Here's a book. I've developed my own planner, the Independent Planner, printed by Trevor Lorkings. It's a planner, paper planner to supplement the digital calendar, printed, handmade by Trevor Lorkings over in England. And we got another couple of podcasts or so out there, do some Amazon stuff. When I tell my kids, what do? I tell them, I think of things and then people pay me for it. And the earliest, I'll say, just coming up with different ways to look at things. I remember my father telling me, though, about my very, very first invention when I was probably between 2 and 3 years old, because he went into the bathroom and there was toothpaste on the mirror every time. You know, he'd come in, what's this toothpaste on the mirror? So it turned out what I would do was take the top off the toothpaste tube, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I would squirt some toothpaste in it and stick it on the mirror so I wouldn't lose it, and then take it off. So that was the first invention. So businesses that have like 20 or fewer employees hire me, and then so I can help them and answer some questions. And one of the things that I hear most often was, wow, I hadn't thought of that. That's what I do.
Well, and you know what you hear most often from me? I normally, when I'm with Scott, I'm like, whoa, hang on a sec. Okay, overload.
Yeah.
Overload.
Oh, and one more thing.
Wait,
Ina,
there's more?
Ina, I
Wait,
am glad you're here hanging out, because I want you to
Thank
come
you.
on to the experience live with Russ and Scott.
She's all,
With
yeah,
Ruth,
and she's
yeah,
all
I've been-
scheduled with
Yeah, with
Ruth.
Ruth.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to talk to Ruth for a long time. This is
Russ
great.
is my favorite guy.
Old Ina and Roos. Okay, there we go. I better not say that because it's gonna. Okay, so
It'll
hey,
stick.
we
Yeah,
are gonna
you will
we're gonna
forever be known
bounce
as
back
Roos.
to, yeah, it'll stick. That's for sure. We're gonna bounce back to Chris, and Chris, you know, let's jump into our topic today, because
Okay.
what's so important, I think, is when we're doing stuff, it's good to get started and just get going on things. But when you're doing things and engaging with people, we need that authenticity. You really need to be you. And that is what makes the difference, because you are special. You're amazing.
Mhm.
Tell us about your thoughts about authentically engaging with people.
To me, it's almost as important, if not more important, than actually posting. I've made just a ton of friends in the comment section of all kinds of posts. Tons of friends in the comment section of live streams. And I'm talking about posts that aren't even mine. You know what I mean? Like making friends on comments of posts that aren't even my post. But it's just not, you know, dropping great post or whatever. It's leaving a thoughtful comment. It's networking. Like, it's just about networking in the comments, man. Like, because when I think engagement, I think, you know, naturally social media posts, and it's just about, you meet the coolest people. Like, you just, it's the coolest thing. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. You're strangers 1 minute and your besties singing Kumbaya the next.
I love the kumbaya. That is awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Well, you know, let me just jump in, and then we're going to let you talk a little bit more because by the time I get around again, you're going to leave us. But,
Yeah.
you know, I think this is what I learned when we jumped into, especially this online arena, really when COVID hit. And that is, when you really are yourself, people kind of like that.
Mhm.
When you really are real with people, that's what Russ
Mhm.
Reels was all about. It was actually a play off
Mhm.
being real and reels, like in video, all in the same thing. But
Right.
it being real, and I'm all about that. I want people to know who I am, what I'm all about, because I don't want to have to remember what I told somebody if I made it all up. It's too difficult. Life is too, I want to be straightforward, simple, and just keep it real, right? Keep it authentic.
Mhm.
And I think there's so many people trying to be somebody else. They're trying to portray somebody they're really not, just because they think that's what people want to see, right? And
Right.
that's not who they are.
That's, to me, that's a terrible thing to do, man. Like, take the business out of it. I mean, we've all heard people do business with people, but I don't want to think I'm getting to know you and then meet you in real life or get on a Zoom call with you or whatever and be sorely disappointed because you're not who you were or not who I thought you were in the DMs or in the comments. What you see with me is what you get. I'm very open about my entire life, even going back to being in prison for so long and getting out and the struggles I face. Like, I want to know, I'm real with people, like you said, Russ, and I want that in return. I want to know the real you. Like, I don't care if you have imperfections or flaws or whatever. Like, you don't have to try and be somebody you're not. I want to know the real you.
Yeah, and guess what, everybody? We all have imperfections and flaws, right? That's just,
Right.
that's what we are. That's part of being human, and that's what makes us interesting and makes us unique. And Rosalinde,
Yeah.
you are, besides being a world traveler, you are one of the most fun, authentic people I know, and that's why you're on here all the time, because I like talking to you.
Oh,
And I
thank
don't want
you.
Ina to think that I bring you on just to learn things from you, being the host, but I probably do. But anyway, take it away. Your thoughts.
Okay, so when you asked me to do this, the first thing I was thinking about when I was thinking about authenticity, I was thinking about the radio personality Howard Stern from New York City. If anyone remembers Howard Stern, he was always the raw, real, unedited, always pushing those limits, which is why he moved over to Sirius Radio, because it wasn't socially acceptable or appropriate. But the good thing about authenticity is that you're leading with truth. And so you don't have to second guess yourself. But the other side of that is that we lose track of our first impulse. So because we want to be socially acceptable. Now, the best place to see authenticity is in improv. It's very raw, it's unedited, and it's edgy and interesting. And if it wasn't like that, it wouldn't be funny. Now, when we're looking at engagement, when you look at the word itself, and meaning within or inside, and gauge, which is a pledge. So there's a relationship between two parties. So there's like a reciprocity or a mutual benefit when there's a relationship. You're building a relationship when you have authentic engagement, and you can have the authentic engagement with yourself, with others, in business, when you have clients and customers. And you're not just engaging authentically with your clients because you're giving them what they ask for. You've built that relationship with them because you're giving them what they need. So, and that for me is what I think authentic engagement is. But there's also there's a lot of things in play when you don't see that authentic engagement.
Right.
You don't, you might get, creativity, doesn't come about because people are just so afraid. They're not in a safe environment to like voice their opinions, so you're kind of spinning your wheels and you're never going to experience like, innovation or anything like that. So, these are things that happen when you don't see authentic engagement or experience that firsthand.
Right. And I think, we talk about the know, like, and trust factor in business and life. And how do you know somebody, like them, and then actually trust them if they're not being really who they are? Because you're going to figure that out sooner or later. Right, Nancy?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think as humans, we have really good BS radars. Face it, if we walk in and start talking to somebody, we almost always know immediately if it's like ick, or, oh, I really like this person. And so that's genuine and authentic. People, want to know, well, how do I become authentic and genuine? Well, be you. Step fully into being you. The more you're trying to chase what somebody else is doing, the farther you get away, and you lose your voice, and you lose your power, and you lose you. And that's a place that none of us can operate from genuinely or authentically. And so for me, the authenticness is, do you like people? Let's start there. Do you like people? Because if you do, you already know how to authentically engage. Do human, be a person, just ask, real life things. Remember what's happening in each other's worlds. It's the same thing you would do with anyone in your life. And, I started the Radiating Real movement because I wanted people to show up masks off. And we were in the middle of the pandemic, and, I had spent time with my own story and just really got to a place of really knowing who I was and having that aha moment of like, no, I really like who I am. And that's who I want to be in the world. So taking off that mask and receiving that unconditional love and that unconditional acceptance that we all deserve is part of just, yes, in the moment, it's scary. And it can be, you know, anxiety provoking, but even scared, we're powerful. And if you take a moment and breath afterwards and check in with yourself about how you felt about showing up as you, really using your own voice, bringing you to the table, the thing I hear most from clients is they feel so much lighter and unburdened, and they really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, that's the whole thing too. The burden of trying to be somebody else is a heavy burden, right? And so it's way easier just to be yourself. And that is what people are really drawn to. And you know what? We're going to bounce to Ina. And she is, from the minute I met her, I'm thinking this is one fired up, authentic person, because I just love what she was all about, you know, and she, you can tell, I know that if I walked into the room where Ina is right now, she'd be bouncing all over the place, right? We'd both be bouncing all over the place, but I'm so glad to have you here, Ina. Go ahead, weigh in with your thoughts.
Me too. And if you walked into the room, I'd give you the biggest hug. Like we're already connected, right? It's just that match of energy. And I love what everybody has been saying. And what keeps going through my head is I feel like we need to define what being authentic is. Because I think that everybody who's listening, they're like, well, I don't know how to be any other person than just me. So what does it mean to really be authentic and to have authentic relationships? I'm like, well, let's go back to what does it mean to engage not authentically. And I just kind of wanted to give like a really short description of what, if I see somebody doing these things, this is what I would describe as not being authentic online. I was having a conversation with a client earlier today, and she specifically said, well, you know, one thing that I like to do is to greet my followers, and I use a canned message. I just change their name, and it says, you know, hi, like, thank you for following me. Would you like to download my freebie? And as she's talking, I don't want to discourage anybody, but as she's talking, I'm here going like, oh God.
Yeah, no.
Like, right? Like, not like I don't want to discourage anybody from whatever practices that they use to go out. We're all here, you know, trying to make a living. We're all here trying to meet people, and we're all just trying to find our way in how to do it. But if we want to do it authentically, what that means is to be vulnerable enough to let people really see who we are, which is actually really hard to do, because I don't think that we all walk around with a sign that says, I love myself and therefore so should you, right? I think that we all have our own internal issues with ourselves, and we are not sure if everybody is ready for our flavor of personality. So that is one thing we just have to like agree and admit and accept, that when we are talking about the numbers of people that are online, the billions of people that we're exposed to online, we're not going to be liked by everybody. And it's not like that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just kind of a fact. It's like there's in Spanish, we like to say, like, you know, you're not a gold coin. A gold coin is liked by everybody. You're not a gold coin, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of where we have to like kick off is when am I not being authentic? Whenever you're like you guys said, like trying to be somebody else, is like mimicking other people's strategies because you think that they're working for them, they might be working for me, rather than going on the comments and just like saying what came to your mind. And more people are going to relate to that than the actual call to action that everybody just kind of tells you to have in your pocket. So that's kind of where I want to have, where I want to start the conversation right there. Is, are you doing things that don't feel like it's you, like you wouldn't talk like that to your spouse and people who know you better?
And people see that after a while, because it becomes kind of almost awkward when you're trying to be somebody else. And we got to be careful not to listen always to everybody telling us what we should be doing in life, because then we start listening to other voices and trying to be something we're not. And I always talk about people shoulding all over you. You should do this, you should do that, you know. And instead of listening to that, we need to be authentically who we are. People ask me when I speak, is it hard to get up there and speak? And I say, no, because it's just me. It's what's in my heart. It's what I'm passionate about. So it just comes blurting out, right? That's just who I am. And Erin,
you're a blurter.
I'm a blurter. And, you know, speaking of blurters, Aaron, no, just kidding. Aaron is such a kind and wonderful, authentic human, somebody who's out there helping people. And, you know, you have been involved with Nancy, Debra, and Brian, Aaron, and they have been, you know, friends of mine now for a long time. And that's been a real blessing for you, I know, because that they teach authentic humanness.
Oh, finding Voice Your Vibe, and the way that it happened was it was sheer coincidence, and it was the best coincidence that ever happened to me. To have those people that can embrace you and take you in and recognize you, and as Nancy Debra Barrows has said before, being seen, heard, loved, and valued. I mean, those are those 4 keys are keys to unlocking many things. One, unlocking your own inner self and your self-awareness, unlocking who to be vulnerable with. If you have those 4 key values with anybody, then you know that that's a person you can be vulnerable with. If you're missing even one of those key values, then it's right out the window. So to have Voice Your Vibe come into my world, and embrace me, make me feel like I wasn't alone, and then actually encourage and inspire my own fire within me, to stay true, stay genuine. There's, you know, and I mean, we pave our own path here. I've never, when I got on board for this, I didn't look at any rule books. I didn't follow any sort of guidelines. I got on here blind, and I was just like, you know what? People are going to either enjoy me or they're not going to enjoy me, as Rosalinde was speaking about earlier. And I mean, if you, what it is when you're engaging with people is a selfless commitment to investing in them,
right?
Giving them that moment and making them feel embraced with big burly hugs, of course.
Yeah, and Aaron, you're so fun and you're so really you that it just, people are drawn to you. Hey, I got to do a quick shout out because my sister virtually never comes on my live streams. Everybody thinks that Noopy is my only sister out there, but she's my adopted sister. This is my real sister right here watching today. Hey, Brenda. And so love you, Brenda. She is a great, amazing sister, lives here in Oregon. So anyway, moving on, D. Scott, you are the man. And can we just call you D today? No, just kidding. Anyway, Scott, Scott puts the D in front of his name because actually his real first name is Dennis. But then when it's D. Scott Smith and electronic things come through to him, they say, "Hi, D. period." And he knows that that's not really people talking to him. So anyway,
those automated things. It says, and I have an unusual title. So it says, hello, D. period, comma. I'm always looking to add more motivational listeners to my network. Like, really? How many motivational listeners do you have in your network? Because
oh my gosh, that's funny.
I am the world's foremost authority on being a motivational listener because I'm the only one, which is a great strategy, by the way. So if you want,
can you sing that Winnie the Pooh the song, Scott?
Be the only one.
Yeah, the only one. There you go. There
you go. Figure. Yep, absolutely. And you know, so way back in the days of, I remember folks there and actually being able to mend the social media world. And as wow, you're this.
Hey Scott, you're freezing every other word on me, man. And I want to hear all your wisdom.
I thought it was me.
I thought it was me too.
I want to hear all your wisdom, Scott. But I caught about every third word. You kind of were like, So anyway, let's try that.
You had all of us checking our connections.
I know.
Okay, you can now go take 2. Ready, Scott? Go take 2.
Am I here again? Am I here?
You're there.
Yeah.
We see you.
Yeah,
You're good.
All right.
You're
Maybe I need to speak slower. Hello, Siri. I am
Talk
over
about
here
being
now.
authentic and real, right? You just had an authentic, real, genuine moment.
Right.
There you go. That
Yeah,
was it.
absolutely.
That was really, that's what live stream is all about. Go ahead, Scott.
Let's go back to the story. So it was on Blab, connecting up with people on Blab. Does anyone remember Blab? Raise your hand. I loved it. It was like a 24/7 video networking world. It was an incredible opportunity. Met people, but when I was able to meet some of the people that I had only connected with online down in San Diego, social media marketing world, and they said, "You are the same person here in person as you were online." To me, that was a great compliment.
Yeah, that is amazing.
You know,
Well, and I can.
so the phrase that I use, and this goes, with what you were talking about. The phrase is engage and validate. So whatever that tool is that you use to engage, whether it's live videos, it's reels, it's blog posts, it's handing out business cards when you meet people face, whatever it is that you use to engage people, you need to follow up with validate, right? And this is what I saw, especially in the digital world, is that people would put stuff out and then people would make comments, or they would share it, and then there was no validation. There was no like, wow, thank you for sharing that, or I appreciate this comment, or responding to people. And whether we do it digitally or we do it in person, engage and validate.
Yeah. Well, I can let everybody know because Scott's been an in-person friend in my neck of the woods for years. He is what you see is what you get. He is a very wonderful, authentic friend, has driven me and pushed me to be better than I was previously because of his great mentorship, and because he's much older than I am, his mentorship, and
And
he
I've been
looks
married
young.
longer.
He looks younger, but yeah.
I've
Anyway,
been married
no,
longer.
he is he's a blessing to me. So listen, bouncing back up to Rosalind, because Chris had to bounce out, and
gosh.
Roz, I tell you, I think we need to stay on this idea of, people need to think about what they're putting out, especially when it comes to social media and online sources, and think about the fact, are they really putting themselves out there, or are they putting somebody else out there?
I thinking about authenticity and putting yourself out there, and in Hollywood, we would say, just be yourself because everyone else is taken. So, just it's about just, we say, go out there, just be yourself, it'll be all okay. Everything's going to be fine. Well, how are we doing that? And I think supporting authentic engagement is really making that place safe, not only for yourself, but for other people. Just like, Scott was saying, if they don't feel safe enough to be themselves, they won't be anyone else but someone else. That's right. So having that environment, just setting up the stage, as we would say, and going back to what Scott was saying, encourage people to share their viewpoints and their perspectives, and praise them when they are sharing something that might be difficult to say or hear, because that's authenticity at its best. And if we're there not being in the moment, and we're there and we're not sharing and staying in the moment, we are not being authentic ourselves.
Right. Well, and Nancy, I tell you, it is something that I think that is really, I think there's a great movement for people being more real and being really who they are. I think we have a great community. And Roz, you talked about that safe space. I consider all of you, we're talking here, a safe space, right? Because we all are friends, and we're on the right. We have a similar mindset. A lot of times people don't want to be vulnerable and put themselves out there. That's why they put somebody else out there. They're afraid they're going to be rejected. They're afraid what might happen to them. And it takes a little bit of courage sometimes, right, Nancy?
Oh, absolutely. We're not here saying this is all easy, and that it doesn't take work and commitment, but again, I remind people, even terrified, you are powerful. So it's okay if you have that fear. You can keep moving forward. We all are living life, and we're out here, and we've got our ugly, unsexy, snotty parts, and social media is not showing that. That's inauthentic. You can tell alone from what someone shares in their social media, if they're really ready to get real, and are willing to get real with you, right? What is reflected? If their life is reflected as not having any problems ever, or struggles, or never a tired day, then it's unlikely that they're ready to get real. And for me, it's this brave space that Rosalind was just talking about, right? Safe space to me is one of those like, okay, we're all going to create this space for you to get vulnerable, as opposed to brave space. We're all here getting vulnerable together. Like, we're all going to do this together. We're not going to put one person out there. We're all going to share from ourselves. And, you know, for me, I had that quote unquote biggest fear realized when I shared myself, when I started the Radiating Real movement, when I put my first Radiating Real post up. Somebody put in the comments, like, tell us the truth. That picture is filtered. And it was like, because that's what I was worried about. I was worried that someone was going to think that I looked too good to be real, right? That what a ridiculous thing to have in your head when I look back at it now. But it was real for me that somebody would think that I would start this Radiating Real movement, take off my mask, talk about having been sexually abused, depression, eating disorders, and then show up filtered on a Radiating Real post. And I thought about taking it down, but I realized that it's bigger than me. There were so many comments that people were thankful for the Radiating Real movement, and they were feeling supported, that I didn't, but I created another post. And here's that ugly, snotty, unsexy truth that we need to share. It was me having been crying, a picture of me having been crying and sharing exactly how it felt. To see that comment there, to have the wind knocked out of me. Yes, I love myself. Yes, I'm confident. But I got to tell you, I felt very small in that moment. That's real. And to say, you know, hey, now moving forward, I can say to someone with true authenticity, when something like that happens, I know how you feel. Right.
Yeah.
That we don't have to have the exact same experience to be able to do that for people. But one of the best things that we can do if we really want to be authentic and real and genuine is be willing to jump in to, you know, I love to say it, ugly, snotty, unsexy with another human being and be there. And really
I'm so sorry, Nancy. I was going to say that, you know, being able to be part of that Radiating Real movement, I can tell you that the post that I put out where I have been a little vulnerable about things that I'm going through, like with my cancer journey and all that, the type of connection and response you get from people, the blessings way outweigh anybody making any, you know, snotty comments back. And, you know, I mean, it's all how you do it. You do it in such a great way. And Ina, I tell you, you are the social media queen, and so you've got it all figured out, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's why I have 1 million followers. Did you check my account? 1 million followers. No, I'm totally hearing, especially what Nancy's saying about being vulnerable. And you know, I usually deal with you know, online coaches who are just starting their journey online, and they see kind of like two sides of it, right? They see the perfect that we all see online, right? That we're all trying to mimic when, you know, when we start out, it's like, okay, everybody's perfect, so therefore I need to go and try to make everything look perfect. So I've seen that side, and people end up just burning out and not knowing what to do. They also see the other side, which is kind of like the opposite side of the spectrum, is the using vulnerability as a tool, is using vulnerability as a strategy, is which kind of gets actually into the realm of manipulation. And you see, like, they see those two extremes, and they see, like, where am I supposed to fall? And where I want to actually like commiserate right here with like Nancy, with what Nancy said, is that it's not about choosing a lane. It's not about doing one or the other, trying to figure out how to be vulnerable. It's just purely expressing yourself in what you're feeling in the moment, like whatever that is. In that moment, like Nancy's truth was, you know what, this doesn't feel good. And I'm going to go and share it so that people understand that this is not just happening behind the scenes, so that they know that this happens, that it could happen to them, right? So when we're here talking about being authentic and everything, I already had I already knew what I was going to say next, right? I was like, I had right here, like, okay, this is a point that I want to make. And then when I heard Nancy, I'm like, I don't want to make this point because what she just said is so important that I just need to like jump on and tell you that there's just a difference. When people like me who have been, like you said, I've been online for a while, right? So I understand what I'm looking at online. I can discern pretty quickly, like, who is using vulnerability as kind of like a manipulation tactic, and who is actually showing me their true self. And it's not because, even though I just said it, because I've been around the block online and I know all, right? It's because I'm just a human being, and I have, like, everybody here, everybody who's listening, we all have a sixth sense. Like, real understands real, real recognizes real. We know when we're trying to be manipulated, and we know where that's coming from, and whether that's true, and whether that's something I should be listening to. People know it. They might not be able to phrase it. They might not be able to give a TED talk about what they just experienced, but they can tell. So I think that the point that I wanted to kind of hammer home here is to kind of like throw away the hidden agenda, right? Like, throw away the okay, what is it that I'm trying to do here, and how should I be sharing? It's like, no, if you just literally just be yourself. And I've experiences online. People tell me all the time they feel like they're my friend, like they're just hanging out with me, because I tell them, the way that I show up in my stories is because I imagine that the person on the other side is a really good friend of mine. And I'm just literally sharing in my stories, like I'm sharing with somebody, like, that I just want to tell them what happened, right? And one person told me, it's like, yeah, but I don't think my best friend really cares about the stuff that I do online. I'm like, oh, please don't imagine a real person. No, like, do not picture your actual real best friend, because, like, my mom doesn't care about the stuff that I do online. Like there's nobody that I can talk to that way. I just imagine this mythical being on the other side, and my audience feels it. And we start to create that connection. Even though I'm like here in stories, they can feel it. They can see the friendship. So yeah, I wanted to just kind of second and third and say everything that Nancy said, and kind of give it like a context based on what I've seen other people try to do. Just like literally be yourself. Like that's very like
And I love that.
Vanilla.
I love that.
Like, it's just be yourself.
Yeah, I think Ross said it, just be yourself, because everybody else is taken, right? I mean, it's just really, life is so much easier. And Aaron, we are going to start our actual last round so we can get everybody in before this show ends today. But Aaron, you have come out of some struggles in life, and then you have been very authentic in moving into blessing and helping other people. And, you call me my friend, and you're concerned about me, and you're concerned about things that are going on. And I appreciate that. And you're a really true friend. And so I love you too, man. And so what I want you to do is give everybody your last comments for your gold nugget for the show today on authentic engagement, and then tell everybody how they get in touch with Aaron.
Well, my gold nugget for today is, stick to your guns. Somebody out there is going to be drawn to your light, and they're going to appreciate that light. And just when you gather like that, pay it forward. Be true, be genuine to yourself first. That will give you the ability to be true and genuine to others. And then you can make that investment and invest that energy to be authentic with them and build something that only dreams can conceive of, for me at least. I want to just give a quick big shout out to my brother Tim Sohn, who made a difficult announcement this past weekend. My love and heart is with you, my friend. Big shout out to obviously my mentors, Nancy, Debra Barrows, and Brian Schulman, that have guided and got me to this point. So many big burly hugs from my bestie, and absolutely the world's biggest heart I've ever met, Dr. Nupi Aurora. Thank you for being my co-host, and I look forward to seeing you all hopefully next Wednesday, the 12th of April, my birthday, celebrating 1 year on LinkedIn, and celebrating the birthday, celebrating Dr. Nupi Aurora's 1 year on LinkedIn, and celebrating obviously the journey that has come about, and talking about the show, which is Soul Man Live, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So much love.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Thank you for that. And make sure, again, Aaron, to put that in the comments. I'm sure that Ever's probably already getting that, but in case she missed it, put that in there. Make sure we got that out there. And and as soon as I say it, it'll show up. But anyway, so D. Scott, you're next, buddy.
All right. So about being real, we're talking about ourselves being real, but also the folks that we're around. And my comment is to be patient with people. So there's a TED Talk by Eddie Obeng, Obeng. I encourage you to go see it. But he puts up this picture, and many of us have seen this. There's two parallel lines, and they have arrows on one side. The lines point in, and the other ones they point out. And we saw this when we were little kids, and they said, which line is longer? And because there was an optical illusion, we said, oh, this line is longer than the other. And then they take the little arrow parts away and the lines are the same size, right? So Eddie, in his TED Talk, puts up this same graphic and he says, which one of these lines is longer? And we've been all taught to say they're the same length. And then he takes the arrows away and the other line is indeed longer, right? So he fooled us but we knew, no, this is the way it is. You caught me before. Don't catch me again, right? So I'm having a conversation with a client yesterday with one of her employees who is going through some mental health challenges. And this is just part of who we are, right? We make accommodations for each other. But the employee didn't want to talk about it because although the company that she is in now is a safe space for folks that need to maybe take a day off, need to make some different work arrangements. We can do these types of things. But she was hesitant to bring it up because the companies that she's worked for in the past didn't accept that. That was a stigma. It was wrong. And so it's going to take time for her as an employee in a safe environment to
deprogram.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So the people that we're working with, we can be authentic and other people will not. It's not that they don't want to be. It's that, as you just said, Rosalinde, they are pre-programmed. So give people space, give people time, and continue to let them have opportunity to be authentic, just like you're being authentic. And people can find me at dscottsmith.com.
There you go. I learned that from Scott. That's why I have russhedge.com, because he taught me everything I know. All right. So jumping next to Roz, you're up. Scott's got his hat on again.
Oh, gosh. I'd like to say and go along the same thread as Scott. We are so programmed to be socially acceptable. Therefore, we can't be authentic. But if I find that there are three things in everything that you do. I just made this post yesterday. We're made to connect. We're connecting to ourselves, connecting to our work, connecting to people, connecting to the world, connecting to nature. It's all about a connection and building that relationship. And when we don't have that kind of empathy and that compassion and the curiosity, we're not going to have it just not for ourselves. We're not going to have it for someone else. So therefore, that space is never going to be created if we don't have those things in place. And even if it feels like it's uncomfortable or it's awkward and it's difficult, life begins at the edge of your comfort zone.
Beautiful, beautiful. And people get in touch with you
through LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn, and I'm always on Russ Reels Live.
Everybody just come to Russ Reels Live if you want to find Roz. That just magically showed up below you too, all that great information. There it is. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. There it is. I love Ever.
Me too. Trust me. All right. So next up, we have Nancy Debra.
Yeah, I want to start by saying that Ever is magical and all sorts of other amazing things. I'm going to start with Rhoda. Yes, she's incredible and it just absolutely magical and So much love to her. Okay, I'm going to start with where to find me because I always forget. So I'm a big LinkedIn gal. That's where you find me. If you can't find me as Nancy Debra, Debra, Barrows on LinkedIn, you can always get in touch with Russ or send out some smoke signals. Somehow we'll find each other. When it's meant to be, you figure out how to find one another. Or you can come to either of the shows. Wednesday is What's Good Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Brian Schulman's channel, or Shout Out Saturday is 9 a.m. Saturday mornings. That's also on Brian Schulman's channel. So that's a great way also. If you can't find me, you know you can find me there. As for last words, I was sitting here listening to everyone. There's been such amazing, amazing wisdom shared in a short amount of time. And I was thinking, oh, what about those people who are having a hard time finding their voice and then using their voice, right? We're talking about being real and authentic, but there are some people who still haven't found their voice, still don't know how to use their own voice. And so to those people who are out there, keep searching. It's there, who you are at your core. It can't be pulled from center. And so just everything we want has already happened. So keep going. That's the way to catch up to it. And if you are willing to stand on that edge of your comfort zone, right, and look over the edge, a great way to start finding your voice is to admit and post and share that you're struggling to find your voice, right? There are so many people out there who are feeling the same way. And that immediate being wrapped up in that love, acceptance, like, yes, me too, I get it, I totally get it. Or, you know what, listen, we all have the privilege to be ahead of someone in the journey. And we also have the ability to look to someone who's ahead of us for wisdom and motivation or whatever it is we need. So you'll get all of that if you share, you know, those sorts of things, what you're struggling with. And it doesn't have to be about your voice. It could just be that you had a hard time getting out of bed today. You went to bed too late, whatever it is. But if you can start sharing about yourself in small ways and you get that feeling from everyone and you start finding that community, listen, you can share your favorite animal, your favorite movie. I love that Ina was putting like, when's your birthday? Hey, you got so much engagement there. People were sharing something about themselves. And that's really what it's about. And the second piece is, I want to say again, engagement on posts. You guys, your own and other people. Put yourself out there, right? The first thing we need to do is show up and engage with people. And over time, it evolves. Like, radiating real is not cracking open your chest and telling all the secrets you've ever had to the world. That is not real. We don't do that. We do it in small pieces where we get to share ourselves and be, quote unquote, rewarded with courage and bravery for doing that. So that's my final love to you all. Love to everyone who showed up. So appreciate the support. You guys are amazing.
Thanks, Nancy. I really appreciate you every time you're on. You are amazing. And Ina, you get to wrap it up for us today.
Well, it has been an honor to be with all of you here. I've loved every minute of this. Thank you so much, Ross, for having me. And I guess, you know, something that we didn't talk about, I'm kind of glad that we didn't, because I feel like it could be an entire theme for a different conversation, is for all people who are trying to get their businesses off the ground online. And all they hear all the time is, hey, you need to be growing your audience. Right. And that's where we fall into all of these traps of not being authentic, because we're just trying to figure out, okay, mimicking whatever works for somebody else is what's going to work for me too. And it doesn't really work that way. And genuine engagement is actually where you begin to get clients when you have a small audience. So that's something that I talk about all the time. Like, literally, my thing is getting clients even if you have a small audience. And I'm telling everybody, like, if you're listening to my words right now and you're struggling to get clients, you're in the right place. Watch this entire thing all over again, because this is really where it begins, is creating those connections. Just period. That's just my message for the world. You can find me on Instagram. That's really where I hang out. I'm at Ina Coveney, and the right spelling is right here on your screen. Ina Coveney. It ends in EY. That's what my handle for Instagram is. And also, I'd like to invite everybody, if you are a coach, to join us inside the Global Phenomenon Facebook group that we just started. It is a community, completely free community for coaches, by coaches. Whatever you're going through, somebody else probably is. Whatever you're struggling with, probably somebody else in that group already solved it. So come and talk to each other and start to make those networks. And that would be a great place for you to start. And thank you, Ross, for sharing my contact information in the chat too.
You are so welcome, and what a pleasure to have you on with us, Ina. You have been an amazing addition. I love bringing new people on, especially when you get the opportunity to meet another group of amazing people like we had on today. And you'll all be fast friends soon, I'm sure. Nancy and Brian are going to have you rolling through their shows soon. So, hey, I appreciate all of you for being here today. What an amazing discussion. Yes, we're gonna have to have an extended discussion on this at some point soon. But I just want to tell you all how much I appreciate you. And we're just gonna all wrap up the show together again today, because you know what? I appreciate all of you. I want you to wave at everybody and thank them all. Don't forget, we're here at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time every week. Until next Thursday, have a great day and a great life. Bye, everybody. See ya. Woo!